Good morning, ladies. Welcome back to week 4 Q&A session. Today, I've got quite a few things to cover for this week's topic. This week is a bit sensitive. So first of all, thank you so much for sending through and posting all your answers for the last week. I know it triggered some of the stuff within you. And sometimes this work is supposed to be that way. I don't believe in making everything so easy, but really, it is really about digging deep into your subconscious and what are the things that are holding you back? What are these subconscious patterns that you have that is really running your life? So sometimes the questions that I give you, they seem very simple, but when you work on it, when you ponder upon it, when you dive deep into it, you're gonna feel triggered by some of these questions that I give you, or you're gonna feel triggered and you're gonna start to you could potentially project it onto people around you because these stuffs come up. But just notice and aware and just realize that it's just showing you this is an opportunity for you to look at the part of yourselves or the emotions deep within you that are left undealt, right? And this is an opportunity for you to finally let go. I talked to my peers and my mentors and I said, this is what I'm running, this is the level of investment, this is what I'm planning to do, and it really blew their socks off. They're saying, Arabelle, why are you giving so much? I just have so much to share that every week 1 hour or 2 hours together is just not enough for me. And really, it's just not enough. And I'm trying to break it down and make it so simple, but at the same time, I just feel like, if I leave this path, you're not gonna get the whole picture. So we're gonna talk about inner critics. We're also gonna talk about the relationship to the masculine and the feminine, because that's what this topic is about. Now, we're gonna also talk about sex. Sex is such a taboo topic that we feel, the moment we hear that word. But I don't want it to be that way. And by the way, I'm not a sex expert, I'm not a tantric teacher, but I'm gonna come from a perspective where it is part of life. It is part of who we are as human beings. It is what created us. I don't want us to feel triggered and feeling like it's such a taboo thing. So we're gonna talk more about that. And we're gonna also talk about what does it mean to shut off people, right? Cover about that. And there are a few women in this group who are saying they're more in touch with their feminine. So how do you actually get in touch with your masculine so that you can really balance yourself out? As the last point, I'm gonna give you a few tips for the womb meditation. A lot of women struggled to connect to the womb and how to really ask questions and understand what are you holding there, right? I don't know if you ladies know, I've been to the other side of the world. I've been to the Amazon jungle alone. I've been in the jungle in isolation, alone, right, in isolation. I spent time with the indigenous people, the indigenous healers, shamans, and the reason why I did that is not because I thought it's cool, but because I really, really wanted to dive deep into my consciousness, dive deep into my subconscious, so that I can meet my shadow, so that I can meet my greatest fears. In that process, I've actually had in the last year alone, I've had close to 5 near-death experiences. Now, it sounds very dramatic, and when it happened, it was very, very dramatic. But every time I go through this, and like I said before, I'm a little extreme, but for me, it serves my purpose because I'm so extreme. Nothing really scares me. To me, it's really about taking risks, right? And to me, it's really about throwing myself into the deep end so that when I come out of the other side, and I do every time, that's why I'm standing in front of this camera together with you today, is I learned so much more about my shadows, about my light, about my darkness, and also about the human psychology as well. So it's not just my training, but it's really about me living and experiencing it and sharing it with you. So Perry, if you're confronting your issues, I know it can be very challenging. I know it can be very, very hard. It can be very scary as well. But don't judge yourself. When we start doing this work, there's always this judgment that comes in. One of my clients, she went into a meditation retreat. When she came out, we had our session and she said, you know what, I can't focus on anything. I don't want to do anything. I feel like I don't belong in this world. And I knew exactly what she was going through. She was in a state of bliss at the same time. She was in the process of integration. So this 8 weeks program, this is really about initiation. This is initiation to that next level in your life. So Perry, hang in there. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be so awesome. And I know that. And I just want you to know that don't judge. Don't let the judgment come in. So the first thing is inner critic. Kareen, this is what you asked me. One of my clients, she was going through bumps in her marriage and she has a change of perspective towards her husband. And the question that I asked her is, so what do you think? What are you thinking about your husband? And she started listing all these things that she feels is negative that, she's not getting from him. And when we really drill down, what's really happening is every time she thinks about her husband that way, what she's really hearing in her head is her dad's voice. So this masculine and feminine is not just about looking into the masculine and the feminine energy we have within, but it's really about what are the connections, what is it really creating in our life, right? So for Kareen, when you feel that you have this nagging voice, yes, it's your mom's voice, but it's really your ego doing its work. Now, what it's trying to do is, if you're still hearing it today, when it triggers, when a situation triggers for you to activate that voice message, right, in your head, what it's really telling you and showing you, this is the question that I always ask myself, and this is the process that I take my clients through, is whenever you get triggered in your life, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Because to me, all these triggers, all these inner critics, they're just an opportunity for us to rise up, is an opportunity for us to become aware of the parts of ourselves that we haven't fully acknowledged yet. We go into this round and round vicious cycle, and the only way for us to break that vicious cycle, and most of the time, whatever vicious cycle it is that you're in, we are stuck in there because we're judging it from a negative perspective. That's why, Perry, I was saying, don't let the judgment come in. Because as long as we're judging it, we're coming from a place of fear. So whatever judgment it is, as long as there's judgment that we're attaching to a certain circumstance, then that vicious cycle will not end. In order for us to break that vicious cycle, the first thing is for us to acknowledge it. Come from a place of love and don't come from a place of fear. Because really love is the only thing that wins. And when I say love, it's not romantic love. It's about really just loving yourself, loving the earth, loving the planet, loving others, even loving the shadow parts of yourself, and even loving the parts of other people that you don't like. So the first thing is notice that it's there, just acknowledge it, and then detach yourself and just observe what is really going on. When does it get triggered? What is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me about myself? And when you don't come from a place of judgment, then you come from a place of love. When you come from a place of love, you come to an acceptance. Now, this is a process. I'd like you to give it a go. And it works, it takes time, it's an ongoing process. And it's not about trying to switch it off. It's really about, okay, I hear you. I know you're there. Thank you so much. Tell me, what is it that I'm not seeing? In the relationship, sometimes your spouses or your partners might not necessarily understand who is this Rambo, right? Who is this John? Who is this Will? Who is this Brutus? Some women, especially if they work in environments or grew up in environments where they're so male dominated, these women can step into their masculine without knowing it. I used to be in so much problems in my past relationships that one thing that a lot of them kept saying was, so who's wearing the pants here? So to me, I was in my masculine. I'm the one who makes more money. I'm the one who takes care of the house. I'm the one who cooks clean. I'm the one who fixes things around the house. I'm the one who goes and fixes her car. I was too arrogant and I was too self-centered that as long I felt good about me being able to achieve all of these things, that boosts my ego. But what I'm really doing is I'm not giving the space and creating that space for my partner to step into in his masculine. So it's really about knowing that sometimes If you're too feminine, and if you're wanting things, and if you're wanting your partner to take care of you, then maybe what you're needing is for you to step into your masculine. I'm gonna talk about how you can actually call in your masculine. It's not about creating another imaginary man in your life for you to fantasize, but it's really about acknowledging the qualities that you have within you. It's not a man out there, it's here. And once you do that, you're gonna be able to acknowledge the things that you have rather than the things that you don't have. What's really happening in a lot of us is we're not acknowledging and realizing the things that we have, and therefore we go out and look for the things that we don't have. And that's why a lot of us are stuck in this pattern of wanting more and more and more and feeling like there's never enough going around. For those of you who said that you have been too in touch with your feminine, then what you're needing is direction, focus, discipline, because when you're in too much in your feminine, you can be too feely, you can be too like, oh, I'm not feeling like that today, I don't want to do it. Oh, my heart is not saying yes, that's why I don't want to do it. That's when you can call in your masculine. And your masculine is the part of who you are, it's a part of your identity, it's a part of your qualities. Now, another thing that I want to say is when you're shutting off people, some of the women have said in the group as well as privately is how they're not trusting because they've been hurt before. You know what? I get it. I've been hurt so many times in my life before. I get what it's like to get hurt. I get what it's like to just put up the walls and be safe. But I also know that those walls that we put up to keep ourselves safe are the same walls that's gonna stop all the greatness in life, abundance, you know, the relationship of your dreams, money, dream job, dream career, travels, whatever, from coming in because you've got these big, massive walls up, right? So the same walls that are keeping you safe are the same walls that's gonna hold you back in life. One part of feminine is about trusting, and it's about surrendering. And as I mentioned before, surrendering is not about giving up. It's about having faith. Having faith is a really, really powerful one. Sometimes it's really not about not really looking at getting hurt, but it's really about looking at understanding the human psychology more. It's really about understanding that, okay, if I keep getting hurt, why do I keep gravitating towards those kind of people who will hurt me? Or is it possible that if I keep getting hurt and if the same scenario keeps happening over and over and over again, is it really possible that I haven't really learned and acknowledged what I'm supposed to learn, and therefore that vicious cycle has continued? And I haven't really broken that cycle yet, just like that inner critic, because I haven't really acknowledged, detached, and learned, okay, what are the things that I'm supposed to learn from this experience? I want to give you an example of a few leading women that I work with, and how this process that I'm taking you through is really helping them in their business, in their life, and also in their careers, right? Some of them are in very top management. I'm a big believer in the inner work, and it's really about bridging between the science and spirituality so that we can look at this whole thing in a very holistic view. Right, so this work that we're doing together in this 8 weeks and beyond will help you become more empowered, for you to understand others more, connect with others more, not only with yourself, but also with people around you. And it's about, you know, really taking a stand in what you believe in. So I want to give you an example of two of my clients, which I think is very simple but profound. So one of the ladies, she's a leader in her company. When we started working together, she had a company, but she also wanted to start a business on the side. So we were looking at starting a business together, and she was in the healing space. 3 months into our work, something is holding her back. And what we found out was, as she started building her business more and more, what she's subconsciously feeling was that her husband has never started a business before. Her husband is a complete opposite from her. And so he didn't really understand why she was building this business. And what she was starting to feel subconsciously that was creeping up was that if she were to really build this business and from the ground up, start getting clients, that means for her, that's her first level of success, which will happen because I've seen this happen over and over again in my clients, right? And it's about to happen, but then she stopped it. This is called upper limit. Now, she upper limited herself. Basically, she sabotaged herself by not doing the work at all. And when we dive deep, what we found out was she felt guilty for her to be successful because her husband, in her opinion, is not ambitious like her. Her husband, in her opinion, doesn't want anything to do that is emotionally, mentally, psychologically, intellectually stimulating. Now she's doing all these work and she is definitely growing. She just felt this deep sense of guilt towards her husband that she started to pull her back. She started to play small. She started to sabotage herself. So these are the shadow aspects that could creep up on you if you're not paying attention. She realized that, that's her own pattern of self-sabotage, and then I'm just shortening the story. And then, of course, she decided to continue to build her business, and she's doing extremely well now. Now, that's one of the clients. And another client that I wanted to mention, we're coming up to a year of working together now. Jane is still in her 9-to-5 job, and she's making so much money in her job. She's doing really well, but she feels that there's a part of her that's missing, and she realized that, okay, I really want to do something that will make me feel fulfilled and at the same time build a business out of it. So we have been building her business together, and now what she's doing is she's bringing all these leading and visionary women together, and she's putting them into one place, connecting them so that they can engage and creating connections. And now she's doing all of that. But at one point, as normal, all these psychological patterns that hold us back, all these shadow areas that we're discussing right now, can creep up on you if we're not aware. And it crept up on her and started to sabotage herself. She was so in her masculine. She wasn't in touch with her feminine at all because she switched off all her emotions. Because to her, in order for her to be able to still succeed in her 9-to-5 and lead projects, and also be able to succeed in her business and lead these visionary women, she felt that she needs to be so masculine so that she can get things done. So she switched off her feminine. And the point is, it defeats her purpose because the purpose for her of doing this, building her business, was to bring women together. And then she was shutting herself off. So I'm just giving you these leading women that I work with because I want you to know and see how this work that we're doing together will have the impact on your life and on your business and on your career. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is sex. Sex is such a taboo word because we make it so taboo. That's why you see so much pornography and all these weird stuff happening in the world, because when you suppress something, it's got to come out some other way. Just think about it this way. If you tell a kid who loves lollipops, and if you don't give the kid lollipops, whenever chance possible, she's gonna steal it. The psychology is, if you tell yourself not to do something, you just want to do it more. As long as we're looking at it as something so taboo, something so yuck, or something that is so to talk about, we're blocking ourselves from it. But really, sex is what brought us here. Sex is the life force. Sex is the natural phenomenon of creating life. And as long as we're treating it as something then we're not really embracing it as something that's part of who we are. It's just like women feeling so yuck about when they have period. Like, there is nothing wrong with period. When we are closing ourselves from having this discussion of the intimacy or the sexual encounters with your spouses, with your partners, what we're doing is we're actually shutting ourselves a part of ourselves. In really, really sacred traditions, in the sacred tantra, it's not about going to that point. It's about two people coming together, creating that deep level of intimate connection. It's really about sharing each other's energetic field, sharing each other's bodies, sharing each other love. It's about then plugging into this consciousness. I want you to have that open communication with your partners. What does he want? What do you want? Where can you compromise? What are you missing in your life? And what can he give you? What can't he give you? And same thing, what can you give him, and it's a give and take. So start with that open communication and see what happens next, because this is powerful. This is really, really important. And start changing your view towards sex as having that deep level of connection between two people. Now, the last one that I want to talk about is your womb meditation. Now, the reason why I asked you to actually focus on your womb and connect with that is because as women, without us knowing it, we can be carrying a lot of energy, especially if you have had different partners. You don't know what these men have been carrying. Now, I'm not even talking about diseases, but I'm talking about their own emotional baggage, right? Now, even if you haven't been with a lot of men, but even if you have only been with one man, you don't know what baggage that they're carrying. Maybe you do. And you don't know when you've actually started taking on their baggage. Now, because like I said, your womb, even if you have done hysterectomy, that area of your body, where the womb is, it's where the life force is. It's where human beings are created. It's where this thing called miracle, which science can't even explain it, how these little sperm and this little egg got together, like this miracle happens there. So that's why I ask you to connect and focus on it, because whatever it is there, someone said she's discharging, and it's awesome. Sometimes we need to let go of things, right? And yes, you can go see a doctor and get it checked out from the medical perspective, but I'm coming from an emotional perspective. Like I said, sometimes they are the psychosomatic symptoms. So here's the thing that you can do for you to be able to start connecting to your womb. Now, if you're someone who meditates, this is perfect. If you're not, then I will give you a few steps so that you can give it a go and try it yourself. Now, the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to be in a place, in a bedroom, in a place that you're not going to be disturbed. Now, whether you want to sit in a lotus position like you're meditating, or you can even lie down if you want. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on your womb like you're caressing them, like you're trying to connect to them, and then just close your eyes. Now, if you know how to visualize, this is how I want you to visualize. Just start breathing slowly. Just focus on your breath, just in and out, breathing in, breathing out, right? And you do that for a minute or so until you get to a point where you feel like you're calmer now. And then that's when you can imagine this beautiful light coming from the sun, connecting the sun ray of energy, this beautiful golden light coming from the sun directly into your head. And as it goes from your head, from your eyes, from your nose, from your mouth, as it comes down lower and lower on your body, you can feel more and more relaxed. Now, start to do that until to a point where the ray of light touches your womb. And then when it touches your womb, that's when you can say that it's time for me to let go. It's time for me to release. It's time for me to really start loving myself. It's time for me to really start getting connected. And if you have any questions, like what are you feeling? Ask your room. And whatever comes up in your head, don't attach any judgments. It's really about becoming aware. As you start doing it more and more as an ongoing practice, that's going to help you feel more and more connected, not only just to your womb, you're going to get connected to your heart even more. And that's how you will start to hear that gut feeling, that intuition, that your soul who is there to guide you all the time. So the womb meditation is really just that, bringing in that light, focusing on that womb area, and then choosing to let go and allowing yourself to relax. So thank you so much for being here with me on this call again today. I'm really, really happy to have you all here. And tomorrow is gratitude, so I'm going to come up at 9 a.m. and enjoy. Take care.